Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Mr. Payne bringing you function shifts. I'd like to talk about this new chapter and just remind you about the 4 functions that we learned last year. Up in the left-hand corner here, that is my linear function. Write these in for me as we go, my linear function. On the right is our quadratic function. In the bottom left-hand corner is our absolute value function. And on the right-hand side is our exponential function. Please write in each of those 4 functions. I'm going to start by graphing the function y equals 2x plus or minus 4. Remembering that my m equals 2 and my b equals negative 4. So I'm going to begin at negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put a dot on negative 4. And remember that last year I used to like using a bigger dot so that you guys can see it real well. And I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Let's draw on our straight line, making sure that both sides of the line have arrows. And they go directly through all of our dots. On our exam, we also have to make sure this year that we are labeling. So y equals 2x minus 4. Now we're going to go to the next graph. It says y equals... I want to undo that. I want to change the color real quick. I apologize. It says y equals the absolute value x plus 2. Let's remember what that looks like, absolute value. What do I have to do in my calculator is I have to hit, when we go to y equals, we hit math num1. And it's going to bring up ABS with a parenthesis. Then we type in our x plus 2, close your parenthesis, and then just go ahead and hit table like you normally do. Once we look at our table, don't forget we have to find our vertex. So my table, I'm going to draw it up on the right-hand side here. My table is going to look like this. My x and my y, it's going to be negative 5, 3, negative 4, 2, negative 3, 1, negative 2, 0, negative 1, 1, 0, 2, and 1, 3. Noticing where my vertex is. We'll go ahead and graph this now. Negative 5, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Negative 4, 2. Negative 3, 1. Negative 2, 0. Negative 1, 1. Let's go ahead and draw our straight lines. And that is an absolute value function. And you can go ahead and label that as well, just like we did with our linear function. Now we're going to graph our exponential function. Y equals 2 to the x power. So go ahead and type that in your calculator. When you type that into your calculator, y equals 2 caret x. And my table is going to look like this. I have my x, I have my y. My x's are going to be starting at negative 2. I didn't leave enough room. So let's, I'm going to put it down here. X, Y. My x is going to begin at -2, and it's going to be 0.25. -1.5, 0, 1, 2, 4, 3, 8. And when we graph these, the bottom, we can start at -1.5 because that's the easiest. It's right in the middle there. -2.25 is in between that dot and the black line. And with my using a thicker dot, it's a little bit harder. Try to move it a little bit. 0, 1, 2, 4, 3, 8. Remember that an exponential function shows rapid growth, like in this case, or rapid decay. It's going to either grow really fast or decay really fast. That's what exponential shows. And go ahead, you can label that line as well. On the right-hand side, we have our quadratic. Remember that our quadratic, we type it in, and we find our vertex. This year when we graph our quadratics, I want us to graph as much as we can. As much as our graph can hold, that's what we're going to graph. So we're going to have -3, 4, -2, -2, -1, -4, 0, -2, 1, 4. We go ahead and graph this line now. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. -2, -2, -1, -4, 0, -2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Plot those points. Graph my line with this solid swoop. And yours will be perfect because you'll have a pencil. I'm using my silly stylus. It makes it a lot more complicated. So that is y equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 2. Today, what our main focus is going to be just the translations of linear functions. I wanted to start off by showing you all of our functions and practicing graphing at least one function. But today, what we're going to talk about is determining what makes a line shift along the x-axis and the y-axis. So graph all three equations, f of x equals x, g of x equals f of x minus 3, and h of x equals f of x plus 2. A couple new things this year are seeing it written like this. And I'll explain to you what that means. But it's very simple. So f of x just means x. So when you type in y equals, it could say just y equals x. That's what really that means. It's just a function, y equals x. So x, we typed in my calculator, the values that I'm going to get is -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2. When I type g of x into my calculator, I'm going to hit y equals. But instead of f of x really equals x, so it's really x minus 3. And when I type that into my calculator, it's -1, -4, 0, -3, 1, -2, and 2, -1. And h of x is really just saying x plus 2. So you type in your calculator, y equals x plus 2. You're going to get -1, 1, 0, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 4. Those are your tables for M3 Lesson 14. And we're going to now graph those lines. We're going to start off by graphing f of x. So f of x equals x. The first table, or the first point is negative 1, 1. So negative 1, negative 1. The second point is 0, 0. Third point is 1, 1. And the fourth point is 2, 2. I encourage you, if you have different colors, to use a different color for each line that you draw. So I'm going to draw my first line. And yes, it is not straight. I'm going to straighten it up, especially because today is really important, making sure that it is straight. So make sure you're using a ruler for each one of these. I'm going to change colors. The next graph is g of x, which is x minus 3. So I'm going to start with negative 1, negative 4. Then I'm going to go to 0, negative 3, 1, negative 2, 2, negative 1. The next one I'm going to go to is h of x, x plus 2. So negative 1, 1. So negative 1, 1. 0, 2. 1, 3. 2, 4. So at this point in time, you should have 3 graphs drawn in on your one graph. I want you to take a look at the observation, and I want you to do this part on your own. What happens when k is added to x? Well, what is k? Well, it says at the top, let k be the value added or subtracted from f of x. So in this case, it would be x plus 2 and the x minus 3 part, the plus 2 minus 3. So when I had minus 3, what happened to my line? When I had plus 2, what happened? So what did I do from my green to my orange? I want you to make those observations on your own. Jot something down and come to class. That's where we are going to start in class. So we're going to graph all 3 equations again. F of x, we're going to start off with, it's negative 1. Negative 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 2. G of x now is 2 times x. So it's going to be negative 1, negative 2, 0, 0, 1, 2, 2, 4. H of x is 1/3 times x. So it's going to give me negative 3, negative 1, 0, 0, 3, 1. What I would like you to do now at the top or next to those tables is I would like you to graph those 3 lines on your own. Also, for the following question to explain the happenings of the linear function, we are going to take care of the bottom of this page in class on Monday. So please do not do anything at the bottom of this page. Please do not forget to write a WSQ summarizing what you have learned from this video.